the sound, the vibe, the energy. You could tell why they did drugs. That music.
You can tell they did
makes
drugs.
you-
I don't tell they did
Yeah,
why.
that music makes you want to do drugs. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta sniff something to this.
You know what? Jesus, that's a statement right there, Terrance. I gotta sniff something to this.
Sniff something to this.
I was literally just about to say, you know, Terrance has some nice new pillows, man. They're great, and that's what you said before I can say.
Oh man,
shit,
let's
man.
start the show.
We're ready. Yeah, we're ready to go. This show's already popping.
Let's go.
Welcome, everyone, to Need I Say More, episode 20. Terrance, hit me with the music. We're not even going to do the intros. We hit the music first.
We're not even gonna like.
That's how exciting it is, Terrance. We're gonna before we even. There it is.
It's a big moment.
20 is a huge moment.
Being out of the teens, you know, doing this for 20 weeks.
Sir, I'm dancing right now. You dancing, Terrance?
It's 20 weeks. It's only 52 weeks in a year. We've been doing this almost half the year.
Are you dancing right now?
No, I'm not.
I'm dancing right now, bro.
Not dancing.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. But this is a good feeling. It's a good feeling. That's for sure.
Got it.
That's for sure.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 20 episodes is huge. Obviously, 26 will be the halfway of a year, but 20 episodes, man. They said we couldn't do it. They doubted us.
They did say that. I heard.
Now look at us, 20 episodes in, almost alcohol level drinking. You know. My name is G8 Giuseppe. I'm joined by my co-host Terrance, aka TG30.
I thought that was for the other show only.
Oh, is that what it is? No,
I thought so.
I'll edit all this out. It's fine. Terrance, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling okay. You know, it's always a good. And also, I learned due to the fact that you just asked, like, how are you feeling?
Mm-hmm.
I learned that some people may take that generically.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, you mean like as like a hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've often. That's something we should talk about. I've often wondered about that. Sometimes someone's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" But sometimes you might answer, and they're like, "I actually was just saying hello."
So I didn't. I took how you're feeling as like you're interested. You actually
how you're feeling
are interested.
If someone said, "Hey, how you feeling?" I would assume they're being quite serious. Like, "How you doing?" or "How are you?" Well, I guess they're all kind of similar, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean they're all similar. I think it's more so how you take it. Like somebody may say like, "How was your day?" and I take how was your day as something like more general. But someone else may say it and they actually want to know like, hey, how was your day?
Do you want to know the worst version of this? So I had a few years ago. I was dating a girl and like. We worked together, and one of her like closest work friends was there, and she was like, "Oh, hey, Giuseppe, how are you?" I was like, "I'm doing all right. I just finished whatever, blah blah blah," and I was like, "It's all right," and she's like, "Oh," and she like looked away, and I was like, "Oh, you weren't actually asking." And she was like, "I'm just saying hi," and I was like, I really wanted to be like, "You don't have to be a fucking cunt about it. Like, you could have just went with it. Like, if you didn't really care, you didn't have to make it like obvious." It was really a rude thing, and I was like, "What?" I literally at that point I was like, "I'm not talking to her anymore." Like,
yeah, but see, she just was being like a general,
But, okay, but if someone,
how you doing?
But if you let's say you said that, you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" and someone was like, "You know what, man, I'm doing all right. I actually just had." Would you just be like, "Oh, this is awkward. I actually don't." You gonna tell him that? Or are you gonna be like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Tell him,
That's what she did.
But they took it differently than what I meant.
That same lady like had a reputation for like being very prickly and people like not liking her for it. I wonder why. I can't believe she did that. I was like, "Who does that?"
That was actually hilarious, though.
Is it hilarious? All right, Terrance.
Like I need to back up now and walk away.
Yesterday and today, nice and cool. This is the last of it, Terrance. After this, it'll be miserable hell in this city, and it'll be disgusting, and I'll hate it, and I'll be unhappy on this show. But for today, I'm nice and cool. So that's where we're at.
Sounds about normal for you.
It is very normal for me. But Black Excellence will not stop for the heat, Terrance, or the cold. Ever. So who's our Black Excellence shout out of the week?
Our Black Excellence shout out of the week actually doesn't go to a person, but more so goes to an event, and it's something that we've been discussing, but it's also something that
I
happened
feel like I
today,
know where this is going.
and that is the Tulsa Race Massacre
Yes.
that
You know
happened
what's interesting? I mentioned
today
this.
in
I mentioned
1921.
I mentioned this last week before the show. We were just talking, and I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned this, and I was like, "Do you hear about this?" And you were like, "Oh yeah." I can only assume the New York Times did a massive article, which is what I was reading last week, and they did like a digital walkthrough of what it looked like before everything went to
Mm-hmm.
hell. It has to be because of that, because everyone's talking about it now. Like
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of
it must have just been the spotlight on it. Now everyone's like, "Holy shit!"
I'm happy there that more people are coming to attention to it. Like I said a couple weeks ago or last week, Watchmen, tried to bring some light to it as well. It's the Tulsa Race Massacre, also
I think
known
the
as the
shout
Black
out should
Wall
be
Street
for.
Massacre.
Sorry, the shout out should be for Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street.
I don't think we
Yeah,
want to shout
that's what I
out the
just said. Yeah,
massacre, right? Yeah.
yeah, Black Wall Street. Which was basically, a community of Black people,
Mm-hmm.
striving,
Mm-hmm.
and prospering. And, they say, as far as, and I don't know if you heard about this, but they say like the Black dollar, right? The value of a Black dollar, right? Inside its own community, it spends, I think they said a lifespan of a couple of hours inside its own community.
Hmm.
But the value of the Black dollar outside of the community, we spend more of our money outside of our own community. And the Black Wall Street was something where the value of the Black dollar was spent only there. It's like, okay, well, we got hospitals, we have pharmacies, we have schools, we have everything is here. So, our dollar goes a long way. And shout outs to I want to get his name right, because he Westbrook is associated with it as well. um they're making a movie about it.
Who is this you're talking about? Like, what do they do?
He does real estate. He's trying to rebuild Black Wall Street, literally in the same area. He's trying to rebuild, I think it's Jay Morrison.
I'm looking. I don't trying to find some information on it.
Let me see. Yeah, Jay Morrison has a Tulsa real estate fund.
Okay.
And what he's trying to do is basically rebuild Black Wall Street. That's been his mission. I learned about it from him. Like, I saw this guy doing Instagram videos, and he was just talking about it. I was like, what the hell is he talking about? And that's how I found out. I found out about this probably, like, I want to say, like, I actually started paying attention to it maybe about 2 years ago. And
this, by the way, the massacre happened exactly 100 years ago today.
Yeah.
Into
And
yesterday.
it's
It's tomorrow.
it's so weird, right? Like, this is America, right? Where, obviously today is Memorial Day. And we do need to celebrate, the veterans and the people that fought for our country's freedom. But it's so weird that America also, like, has this day, and we also kind of, like, have this tragedy to happen, but we don't really acknowledge the tragedy as well.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily intentional. I think this is just something
it's not intentional, but
I think you're going to hear
like
about it a lot moving forward.
It's also but also we can't say it's not intentional because we don't really know. But
I mean, I just think people, unfortunately, there's so many things like this that happen that, like, it's hard for people to, like, a lot of people don't remember, or there's other things people are focusing on that they don't, like this. I never heard of this, right? And
yeah.
you said you first heard about it, I think, from Watchmen,
and
right?
They didn't teach us this in school or anything like that.
I think curriculums are changing quite fast these days.
They should, for sure.
I think these are things.
These are things that, when we were in high school, I'm pretty sure it would have, like, really been, like, inspiring to us back then. I know it definitely would have been for me.
But I agree, and I think that's why this stuff should be taught. I think, but you have to remember, when we were growing up, let's talk about, like, the mid 90s, right? Like, if you didn't know about this, you had no way of figuring it out unless you were specifically looking up, like, Oklahoma. It just was. It was one of those things that, like, it happened and kind of was forgotten about by a lot. And I think now we live in the day of the internet, right? So everyone can now know, hey, this happened. So that's why I think, like, it's good that this has been brought up, because it's a horrible tragedy, and especially from what it was. And, hopefully this will be taught in school, and people can learn from this, and it can inspire, and people can understand what's going on. Because it's disgusting.
It's a tragedy.
I love this. I love the idea of Black Wall Street too. So it's, like, even worse that, like, this happened.
Yeah, I mean, and if you think about it, like, it's things like this where, where Black people will say, like, they're non-combative and they're really non-violent, that kind of shows you, right? Because it's just like, here's a community of Black people that weren't bothering anybody. It's like almost exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, it's literally, they literally segregated themselves.
It's almost literally what you wanted.
Terrance,
And
me and you talked about this. Or maybe this was off air. It's about being threatened, right? Like,
right,
they did
exactly.
These people did exactly what they were like, people, the white people wanted them to do, right? They separated themselves, but they were too prosperous, and so they felt threatened. And we talked about this off air. Back in like the early 1800s, slavery had existed in the Americas for about 200 years at that point. They were coming, so many Black slaves were coming over that there were a lot of white people and
they
like
had
owners.
to stop bringing
They
slaves.
literally were like, they're going to start outnumbering us. They were threatened. And so they actually banned new slaves from coming in. Obviously, people are still being born, but they banned it because it's exactly what you said. It's about being threatened, and their power is feeling threatened. So that's exactly what this was. Like, the reason it happened was supposedly, someone, they claimed a Black guy assaulted like a white woman, but did it happen, or was it just an excuse for them to do what they wanted to do?
In the elevator, I believe it was, right?
Yeah, it was an elevator, yeah. But honestly, man, did anything actually happen, or did maybe the slightest thing happen? They went, well, this is a good excuse to take them down. That's what I think actually happened. So, but yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, do your research on Black Wall Street. It's a fascinating piece of history. It's very sad. Just situation. The massacre itself obviously was horrible. Some 300 people were killed. 5,000 people were left homeless after this. So it's a very sad story.
Yeah, so shout out to the rebuild of Black Wall Street and that plan and everybody involved with that.
Yeah.
And shout out to people learning more about this. It's things like this that everyone should know about. Not just Black people, not just white people.
Everybody, yeah,
everybody should know about these things that happen.
Mike
in
Bloomberg
our country
donated $1 million to the Greenwood Art Project in 2019. Huh. God, he had so much money. That's good.
What is the Greenwood Art Project?
Well, because then technically the area was Greenwood District in Tulsa, is what Black Wall Street was. Gotcha, so apparently, I think it's they were trying to erect something like a community center the cultural center rather about it. So there you go, Mike Bloomberg. Use some of your absurd amount of money to do something good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Greenwood District. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's called. But all right, Terrance, on with the show. Here's something I was thinking about. Do you know the answer to this question, Terrance? What does the upside down emoji mean? The upside down face emoji. What the hell is that supposed to mean?
It means I'm trying to get freaky.
Is it though, Terrance? I've seen. I remember.
I'm trying to get freaky. I remember that. I'm trying to get freaky.
Hold on a second. I remember an ex was like, "Oh, I had to bring my car to the mechanic. Guess what? It turns out this was broken. Now I have to pay $1,000." And then she put that face.
Hold on, wait. Let me look at my phone. Hold on, wait, really quick. Hold on. Let me actually look.
I think there's no clear definition, so people just use it however they want. Because freaky, maybe, I don't know. I was talking to a girl recently. She sent that, and I was like, "Is that good? Is that playful? What are we talking about here?"
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay.
You Googled the answer?
No, I'm looking. No, I Googled the answer. No, I come up with my own answers. Yeah, it's a lot better not being right.
I just don't know. Like, I don't know. I've seen people use it, and I'm like, is it supposed to be like it's kind of funny? Is it supposed to be like sarcastic? That's how she used it. I don't know.
I think it's two things. I think it's if you use it in the sense of flirting, it could be it can be taken as flirting or whatever. I think it also can be used like in that situation. Somebody is like, great, being sarcastic.
There's too many things. It shouldn't mean this many things. Every emoji usually means like one or two things. It shouldn't mean like yeah, I had a girl. I was texting a girl and she did that, and I was like, "What is that? Is that a good thing?" Like, I don't know what. And she's like, "No, it's like a playful thing." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
but
you saw she used the wrong one.
No, she did that. I literally said, "What does that mean?" She went, "It's playful." Maybe I can look it up, but this is what I mean.
I think she got that wrong.
But this is what I mean. No one knows, so therefore it's just no. That's what it is. Like it's an emoji that no one really knows.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm using that emoji to get some ass.
Why?
Because
why does that have to do with ass?
I feel like that's what he's telling me. Like, if I send this to you or whatever, like you should know what time it is. If I send this emoji to Corey, like she already know what type of vibe I'm on.
But see, you're using it that way. But what if a bunch of other people don't think that? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I think there's no clear.
I think it's never used. When is it ever used outside of that. I don't.
I just told you I had an ex who was like, "Oh, I got to pay $1,000 now." Great.
I think that was just a wrong usage of the emoji.
But wrong according to who? There's no clear definition for this. It's it's just an upside down smiley. Why would that mean freaky?
Yeah, definitely means I'm getting some ass.
Why though? You're not explaining. You're just saying the same thing over and over.
I just feel like that's the vibe that the face has.
Like a kissy emoji.
The
means
face,
kisses.
it kind of has a smirky, like because it's upside down.
It's not smirky.
Is like smirky.
It's literally the normal smiley, but upside down. There's nothing like smirky about it.
Nah, man.
I'm telling you, there's no clear definition. That your definition is the freaky, but other people's isn't, and therefore we're just in a clusterfuck.
Well, they should take the emoji away. But
I agree.
Not until I get some ass.
For the first time?
No, just like
the next time.
Take it away after I use it to get some ass. Like then I can be like, okay, it works.
You're saying with
I want it to work.
You're saying with that girl, you send that to her, and she's like, "Oh, I know what he wants. He wants to fuck." That's what you're saying.
Yeah, if I send it to my girl, yeah.
That's what you send? Oh, that's insane, Terrance. All right, so before we get into the show proper, even though I don't know why we're waiting.
Oh, that wasn't proper?
I don't know. It depends on who you ask. If I could respond right now with the upside down emoji, Terrance, I would. So that way you wouldn't know what I meant. But last week, Terrance, we talked about trigger warnings. You remember this?
Yeah.
Terrance, I wanna say that number one. So I listened to the episode, obviously, because I edited it. You made some fantastic points. I want to just commend you on the things you were saying. You made some fantastic points. And I want to say that sometimes when I go into certain topics like that one, I don't want to say it was a joke, but I had my opinion about how it's like stupid. And I was just planning on talking about that. I thought you'd kind of agree, but you didn't, which is great. That's what the show is about. But you made some great points and you made me think about it. And I think at the end of the conversation, we came to the same point, which was like,
I believe so.
Maybe it's a bit overused, but there maybe is a good reason that these things exist. I think that's what we kind of settled. And I hadn't even thought about that until we talked. So I did want to commend you on like, just you had good points. And I think that's what the show is supposed to be, right? We're talking and maybe we change each other's opinions or we inform each other. And that's the point.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, more so it was just about having a conversation. So
yeah, I love that.
That's really, really all it was about. It was like having a conversation and, we're not always going to agree on things. And hopefully it's, it's moments like that where you kind of listen back and be like, you know what? Valid.
That's the thing.
I always
right?
said I can't argue logic.
You wish what?
I've always said I can't argue logic.
With logic?
Yeah, like you can't argue like with logic. You can't. Well, I say you can't argue logic, and what I mean by that is just that I can be wrong. I can not like it. I can hate it. But if someone makes a logical point, that's a logical point.
Yeah, that's a logical point you just made.
Right, exactly right.
So no, but that's the thing. I think that's what happened last week when I was like, I went in with this one mindset, but you made logical points, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I'll admit that I don't think I was. Again, I think both of us we reached like a conclusion of like, I still think it is used too much, but you make good points. There is a reason people use it. So, just want to talk about that. It was a good talk, Terrance. Yeah, good job, Bo. Good job, TG30.
Appreciate it.
All right, Terrance. Here's a topic I want to bring up. Here's our first big topic. Is me and you are both obviously straight men. If you have a girlfriend, you're with somebody. If she sleeps with another woman, is that considered cheating to you? Do you look at that and go, wow, it's a woman, it's fine? Or do you look at it as the same thing? Because there's a lot of guys don't think it's a big deal.
It depends on the relationship, right? It depends on like, if you guys
I guess, yeah.
2 weeks, if you guys been together.
I don't know why it matters.
Years.
Is my thing. Because to me, it's like
because your connection.
Well, no, I'm saying a lot of guys are like, no, it's not the same thing. It's a woman, and I'm like, I don't know. Is that why do men think that way?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna still be hurt.
Right. That's what I think for myself.
I'm gonna still be hurt. I think that the fact that it's a woman, it can be taken two ways. It can be you're not satisfying her, or it can be she's curious. It might hurt a little bit less because it's like, okay, well, maybe it hurts less.
She wants a big butt. I mean, what can you possibly do?
Or it can hurt more because it's a female. It's like, fuck, I would have rather you treated on me with a guy, but you went and switched teams.
What would you feel, honestly, if you found out? Would you think it'd be better for a man, it being a man or a woman?
I can't really say.
Huh.
Honestly, I can't really say. Um, I know my relationship. I know, we've talked about, plenty of things in regards to, things like this. But as far as like what I would feel, I don't know, man. It's like almost asking like how you think you feel if you get burned.
But yeah, but I mean, people
I
can,
don't know.
some people can imagine things. Apparently, you can't. But some people can imagine
Yeah,
how they
no,
might
no, no.
feel.
I only say that because it's tough to be like,
Do you think it's weird that some people feel like should it be different? Isn't it the same thing? Like if you have a relationship and you're like, no, we're
I could
together,
see
we're
somebody not having a
exclusive.
problem with it at
But
all.
do you think that's weird?
No,
Should it matter? Like if you have a relationship and your relationship is we're together and we're only with each other, and then she goes and breaks that, is that not the same regardless of who it is?
it is
Whether
the
it's an
same.
ex,
You still
it's a
broke
man, it's a
the
woman. That's
yeah.
what I think. But a lot
You
of
still
guys are
broke the
like,
vow, the commitment.
a lot of guys are like, nah, it's just a woman. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, I don't see that personally.
If
Like if you're
anything, it's
talking about
probably
like
even worse.
if you're talking about like a
Women are
threesome, it's different. That's not the same thing. But if you're talking about literally she just went and slept over some other person's house, to me, I'm like, I like, slept with them. To me, I'm like, yeah, I think that's bad either way.
I mean, look, like I said, like it could possibly be even worse because it's one thing I learned about women that are interested in the same sex is that they have a connection that we will never understand. We will
Right.
never be able to bond on a certain level. We like it just wouldn't be able to
I
happen.
mean, you don't
And
have those things, right? Like you're not a woman.
you just you don't understand it. You
You can't
can't.
give
You're
someone what it's like to be with a woman if you're not a woman.
right. And then if you go to the whole pleasure side of it, as I've gotten older, I've definitely learned that their mind and their vaginas are connected. It's
Okay.
connected. And if you fuck up the mind, you fucked up the vagina.
It's a weird way to say that, but okay, I feel you. I understand.
But and that goes to this way. It's like, women can be so connected mentally and then build that emotionally and then splash waterfalls. But if like if you're that guy that's just like, oh no, it's not a big deal, you don't know that you lost her already.
Right.
You lost it
Yeah.
already. It's not coming back at all. Not coming back.
I do agree with that. I think women are definitely more like that than men, where like it's like I think men are very um like men, like yes, you can see a beautiful woman and you just want to sleep with them and that's what it's about. Whereas women are more like, yeah, they could see a hot guy, but they're more about like, yeah, do they like this person? Is there a connection? Like that's way more important. Are they happy with this person? Like that's more important, I think. I think women are a bit less
Man,
superficial.
you really gotta commend women, like attractive women for being in committed relationships. Like I appreciate my girl
Because they could just
because
at any point just be with someone else.
like it's like come on, like I know you get hit on every day, like I like you got sometimes you just gotta appreciate like damn, like what, I appreciate that you loyal.
Yeah,
It's
and
just, it's a
it's true.
choice thing. It's a
Yeah,
choice thing.
because with men, like I don't know, if you were constantly getting hit on and people are constantly throwing themselves at you, it's a little different. Like would you? You're like you'd be like you feel like you're more likely to cheat or something, right? So
Yeah, I
you got to
mean,
come in with them.
that's pretty much why you see like these guys, like you watch guys like Drake who, is like almost never in a relationship for a long period of time. It was just
Yeah,
like because if you could have your options,
yeah, you just keep doing that, right? You just you
right?
always have
Like,
someone new.
until you get to a certain point, it was just like, all right,
But that's the
well,
thing. You were
I'm
even
kind of tired of
kind of
this.
like that in a sense where you weren't sticking with like you had obviously girlfriends, but you never, I felt like up until this relationship you're in now had like a serious relationship.
Yeah, but that was also because like I was just kind of just being a creep,
But
like
I think the thing is there'll be things you've pointed out to me where I'm like, yeah, that's like what happens in a relationship, and you're like, oh, it's amazing, and I'm like, this is what you kind of missed out on all those years. You didn't have like the things because
I didn't.
a lot of people think like, oh, like you're stuck with one woman or whatever, but it's like the longer you're with someone, like hopefully, right, you guys are growing together and you're finding all these
Yeah,
amazing things that happen when you get the more because the love becomes a new thing, right? Where like it's not even like you love that person, but it becomes so much deeper and becomes almost like you can't even fully describe what it is, but you find this just such appreciation for this
well, you're
person.
you're you're growing, right? And then something that I'm learning is that
They
there
help you
are
grow.
there are three. there are three sides in that relationship. There's whoever she is, there's whoever you are, and there's whoever you guys are together.
Right. And they
You
and
know,
obviously you guys help each other grow, and like evolve and whatever that means,
and these are and you're constantly changing. Right.
Right.
Wow, perfect segue. Uh it's like this was planned. We didn't plan this.
No, we didn't.
Um, but you're constantly changing, right? You're constantly becoming like a different version of yourself, and then you're becoming a different version of yourself in this relationship, you know. And there are moments and times where it's just like, okay, well, I don't like this about you anymore, or I don't like this about you now,
Whether you're changing into or something.
right? Like I don't like what you're changing it into. I don't like the things that you may not do anymore or whatever. Like, but we have to allow people to be we have to allow people to grow,
Yeah.
whether that be, they're growing into a demon or they're growing, into an angel. We have to allow that
See, that can
because
be
it's a continuous thing.
one of the hardest parts of being in a relationship is someone growing, but in a way that you might not like. Right. Like whatever that might be, like that can be tricky because you're supposed to support them and love them. But if they're growing, if they're growing in something you don't like, even if it's one aspect of their personality, it's tricky. Like, what do you do in those situations? Do you just go, well, I have to accept this? Do you
No, you
tell
go
them?
through it with them. You communicate, you go through it with them, and you explain that this version of yourself that you're growing into and that you're even still figuring out, I'm not really liking.
Yeah, but what if they're like, I do like this though? But whatever that might be, it could, like I said, it could be. I don't know what a good example is, but they
You
like
got to
that
find
part
a
of themselves.
compromise then.
Yeah,
You got to
that's what I'm saying. It could be
find a
tricky, like
compromise.
because on the one hand, if let's say you were growing and they were like, I don't like this about you, it makes you almost feel like, well, you're trying to control me, and you're like, this is what I like to do. But on the other hand, you have to think about them. You're together now. It's not
Right.
as simple as you going, well, this is what I want. This is what I want.
And that's the we conversation.
That's what I'm saying. This is, I think, some of the more trickier things about being in a long-term relationship is the growing part, because again, you should be growing all times as a human being. You shouldn't just be stuck in the same way. But then when you're together, it could be tricky because you want to love that person. You want them to love you back
Yeah.
completely.
I mean,
But
like,
if you're growing in something that they might not like or you don't like, it's a tricky situation.
look at this. Like, in your adulthood, what's the longest relationship you've been in?
A little over 2 years.
A little over 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So if you say within that 2 year period, I mean, you're still in your 20s, right?
I was now, or I was.
I mean, you're still in you were still in your 20s,
Yes.
right? And everybody knows, or everybody can attest to the fact that during your 20s is kind of like almost being in your teen still. It's just you're growing and changing in a more adult way.
Yeah, your 20s are when you learn what kind of adult you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
that's your 20s are for the making the mistakes and the going through different relationships and the different experiences, the
Exactly.
jobs, whatever it is. Because by the end of your 20s, you should have a better grasp on who you are as a human and like what kind of adult you're going to be. Probably not necessarily for the rest of your life, but you should have solidified certain aspects of yourself that,
right
like the
now
pillars.
in those 2 years you were in a relationship in your 20s, you would say you from the moment you guys started to whenever you guys ended, you would say you made some changes within yourself.
Of course, absolutely.
Right. And it's whether you guys were able to come to a agreement of, hey, yeah, this still works or this doesn't still work, you know that kind of plays into that whole relationship aspect as far as how you're gonna come out on the other side of it, whether you guys work or not.
Right.
But had you just been like, oh, I'm just gonna be whatever you want me to be, you wouldn't have had a chance to grow yourself and be happy
Yeah.
with yourself, more or less.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing, right? That's the thing. It has to be if you're growing,
and your relationship
you have
changed.
to like what you're growing into, right? But then so does she.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can be tricky. Like I don't know if I have example of maybe when I was with someone and they were going through some kind of change that I didn't
But
like.
your relationship had to change, right? Your
Yeah,
relationship
it's a kind
wasn't
of
the same in the beginning
that's kind of, yeah, of
than it was
course.
like a year and a half into it.
No, yeah, of course. You these things change. That's the thing. This is why it's hard, I think, for marriages to last, is because, well, I think people get into them too early, too quick. But I think part of it is this: it's about knowing these type of things. It's about understanding that you're going to change, she's going to change, you're both going to change, and it's accepting it. And unfortunately, the hard reality is sometimes someone might change, and it might be like it doesn't work anymore. It's hard to admit that, but maybe you will do something, or she will do something, or my next, my future wife or whatever it is, they might do something that like it just doesn't work anymore, and they want that, and they insist on changing this thing, and you don't like it, and that's how, what do? You stuck.
And a lot of it has to do with being selfish or not being selfish.
Yeah, because it's about compromise. It's about how much
I hear a lot of dudes. I hear a lot of dudes complain about, oh, she don't do this anymore. She don't do that. She don't look like this. She don't whatever. She don't. Right. It's just like, okay, well, what are you not doing anymore? I'm pretty sure she could say the same thing about you.
But also, see, that's the thing. The question you have to, number one, this is where communication comes in. We talked about this. Are you asking her about this stuff? Are you bringing this up? And also, these things that she stopped doing, was she only doing them because you first started dating? Is she trying to change for the better? Is she maybe are you guys both being lazy in your relationship and you're both becoming people? This is why talking is so important. You have to figure that out. Like, what is the thing she was not doing anymore,
And I got an example.
Is she like not wearing makeup and she's sloppy as hell every day? It's like, well,
I got a perfect example for this, right? So I didn't know that I didn't know that certain birth control can mess with the woman's hormones.
Oh, they almost all do. That's because the whole thing they're doing is.
I had no idea.
And
I had no idea.
So that's an interesting thing you bring up. That has, every woman reacts to obviously different medicines, but in a variety of ways. Some women start to gain weight. Some women start to get acne. Some women have like their emotions are all messed up. Like that's
right.
Yeah.
And when you're in, so as a man who didn't really understand it, I think about when I was younger and like birth, obviously you want your girl to be on birth control. But then, like, as I got older and I knew that now and I had more knowledgeable information about her, it's like, damn, well, if she is on birth control, then she's essentially going to be a different version of herself. She may not be the same version, as far as like, she may not feel sexy when I want her to feel sexy. She may not feel like it. Like you said, some women gain weight. She might blow up. Like these are things that, we as men are kind of selfish mind thinking, and we don't really take that into consideration about the effects that it can have on our partner, and I think I sound a little high horse, and I definitely don't want to sound like I'm on a soapbox.
I don't think you do. I think what you're saying is like, you need to take into account where they're coming from. Like any change, is it a willing change? Do they not realize it? If it is willing, do you know why? Because maybe you're thinking, oh, she doesn't do this anymore, but it's like, yeah, but maybe she doesn't realize you wanted that, or maybe she hated doing that thing, or
maybe there's trauma associated with it.
Right. This is why like communication is important. Like it can be hard. Like me and you were talking about it, like we're so perfect at it, but we're not. Obviously, we're just talking. But it's hard to do these things, man. It's hard if you have, for a relationship, and it's one way. A few months later, she or you are not doing certain things. It's hard to really confront that and be like, hey, so we used to have sex 3 times a week. We're only barely having sex once a week. Is there a reason? And maybe there is. Maybe a completely normal. She might go, honestly, this is why. You have to ask her though. What if she's not feeling? Maybe you're not being affectionate enough, so she's feeling less attractive, so she's not wanting to have sex.
Yeah.
Like this is why communication is important. Because it could be something you're doing wrong, could be something she's doing wrong, could be something, a miscommunication, whatever it is. This is why like communication is the most important thing in any relationship. If you're not communicating properly, then you're just going to end up miserable.
Yeah, I mean, and it's even communication takes work, because the way you communicate could be detrimental as well.
Because people communicate differently, and so you have to get on the same. You have to get on a similar page of communication. And if one person never wants to talk, it's like, well,
everyone. Somebody may talk with a certain tone that you may misinterpret as an attitude.
That's me all the time. I constantly have bad tone according to everyone on the planet.
You got a bad tone?
According to everyone on the planet, yeah, my tone is a problem. I've been told that by multiple jobs, that like it's the way I say things. I've heard that so many fucking times.
But that's important though.
It is important. That is vital. I mean, the difference between me saying like, Terrance, did you send me the episode? Or Terrance, send me the episode? That's 2 different things.
There you go.
So yeah, tone's vital.
There you go. Just right there. And it's crazy how even as adults, like people are still learning this.
Still struggle with that.
Yeah.
Terrance, have you ever been like actively trying to do something to grow in some capacity, whatever that is, but you've had not necessarily just a relationship, but you've had any sort of person like not want to accept that? You know? Like maybe they want you to stay, again, it could be anybody, friends, family. They want you to stay a certain way, or they expect you a certain way, or maybe they just some sort of resistance on it.
Yeah, I got a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
I was in high school. I want to say I was in high school, right? And
Okay.
I just got an internship with the MTA, and I was super excited about it and everything like that. And they taught us interview skills, right?
It's good. Wait, MTA did?
Yeah, like it was an internship. So in the internship, they taught us interview skills. How to shake the hand properly when you're shaking the hand with a male or a female, how to like dress for the interview and conversation as well.
Right.
You're a teenager, so you're learning all this stuff, right? So I remember during my junior year, I got the internship in ninth grade. So around junior year, I had already finished the internship or whatever, but obviously you still have those skills, those knowledge and everything like that, right?
Right.
I remember being on a phone doing a phone interview, and I had a phone interview, and it went well and everything like that. And when I got off the phone, a family member of mine was just like, "Oh, you changed. You sound like a white boy now.
You what, like a white boy? Sound like a white boy?
Sound like a white boy now."
Mm.
And I was like, "What?"
What does that
I
mean?
was
Like
like,
you
"I don't
just
even,
speak properly or something?
I didn't even get it." Yeah, it was because I was speaking more properly,
That's a whole separate
and
topic, by the way. We'll talk about that one day.
I was,
Speaking black, quote unquote.
there's no such thing as these things, but
We'll
whatever.
talk about that. That's why it's a topic for
Um,
later.
but it basically, yeah, it was like, I was growing up at this time. What's that? I'm probably like 16, 17.
Yeah.
So I was
So
growing up,
it's a
but
transitional period in your life.
I was also seeing that me speaking proper would allow me to have better conversations. It would allow these people to take me more serious. It would make me stand out and get the goddamn job.
Right.
I'm just trying to get the job. So
You don't make the rules, man. You're just playing by them.
if 5 black dudes walk in here and only one of us can speak elegantly, pronounce his words, and just be able to enunciate properly,
doesn't say dough, says though.
who do you think is gonna get that job?
Charles Barkley. That's exactly right. That's what I'm saying. Like you're bettering yourself, and you're also adapting to just what you need to do.
Right. And it took a while. It took a while for those members of my family to accept that. Hey, look, that's just me. I'm gonna be me. It doesn't take away from my blackness. It doesn't take away from the fact that I'm still black. That I still have my culture. I still know I could speak slang. I could speak slang if I want to.
I do want to bring. Like
I choose not to.
I think we'll talk about that in a different topic, like the whole speaking black, speaking white, or whatever. But see, that's an interesting thing, right? Like, why? It's a weird thing, like where sometimes as human beings we expect someone to be the same, but we also know that people grow and we should be growing. Like with some people, like, yeah, oh, you've changed. You're not like this anymore. It's like, well, yeah, I'm growing. What's wrong with that? It's a weird thing. Some people do that. We've all dealt with that, right? Where someone's like, man, I don't know, you used to be one way, now you're this way.
Yeah, and there's certain core values to you that always stay the same. And this is funny. This just reminded me of a Jay-Z quote that he said in a song. And
doesn't most things remind you of a Jay-Z quote?
The guy, like, he's poetic genius.
Him and Wesley Snipes are basically like the pillars of the show.
Always. For some reason, we're gonna find a way to relate something back to Wesley Snipes and Jay-Z. Right. But Jay-Z, he got a line in the song where he said, "People look at you strange, like you changed, like you worked that hard to stay the same."
See, that's a fantastic quote. That's exactly right.
Are you working? It's simple to understand. It's like, why would you? What? What the fuck? What are you talking about?
Like we all are. Like, you should be actively always trying to better yourself in anything, right? So you're not. It's like that. You're not gonna be working super hard to be like, I'm gonna remain exactly who I am and make no changes. It's like, what?
Yeah,
that's a good quote. Good pull on that quote right there.
And it's just like, look, like I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Yeah, like, but I'm always gonna be me. I'm still me. Like,
you're still you, just because you're better at something or you do something. like you're more eloquent when you speak better, or you
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. Like that doesn't mean it's not you should not Terrance.
I take into account how I treat people. And the
You
reason why I
should.
do that is because no matter where I go, no matter where I worked, no matter who I interacted with or anything, no one can ever say Terrance treated them X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, people say that about me. It's not true, but yeah.
Everyone can always say the same thing. Like whenever my name, I notice for a fact, and the reason why I notice is because people come up and tell me, and I don't say a word. I've never told somebody to give me a good review, you know,
Right.
never needed to ask that.
Yeah, you
But
shouldn't.
I've heard people when they met me say, "Oh, I heard about you."
Yeah, I've had that too.
Like and it's always been like, a great things like, yeah, no, they say this about you, they said this, somebody said this or whatever. I've been in rooms where people are like, yeah, like, you have a great reputation or whatever as far as treating people fairly.
Has anyone
Eh,
ever said to you, you're not as bad as people say about you?
No, I've never heard that.
I've heard that.
I've never, I've never heard that.
I've heard that before.
You know, and that, see, even things like that is, that's not okay. Even saying, no, seriously, even saying
Your
things like
reputation,
that,
man. You got a reputation for being a certain kind of person. Then
right?
you if you not exceed, if you subvert that expectation, then people might talk about it.
But your name,
Because people
you're
listen, because it's a little different for me, where people get a bad reputation. I've had a bad reputation at different jobs because I how do I put this? I have a high standard. I'm not going to let people just dick off and not do. I have a very high standard. Number one, and number two, I'm going to be the person who, like, if there are rules, whatever job we're at, I'm going to make sure we follow those rules, not just when it suits us, but like to follow the rules. You know, and people don't like that, and especially if you're the only one saying these things, and like you're the bad guy. So there's definitely people. I've gotten a bad reputation because I push people kind of hard, but pressure makes diamonds, right, Terrance? But I I I do those things, and you get a bad reputation. But then, like, later on, people who actually get to know you realize that that's not who you are. You're not your reputation. Like, you're an
mm-hmm.
individual. So I've had people have
Yeah,
like,
but your name also, like, that's why I always say, like, your name is important, who you are, whatever. Your
I suppose.
name is what's gonna live forever.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I don't know if it's kind of like people like don't let the haters like win. Don't listen to haters, right? It's like, I don't know, if a bunch of people don't like me, it's like, well, whatever.
Yeah, there's
Like, I
certain
don't.
things you can't control,
Yeah, that's the thing.
and
I could care less.
people
Like,
always you always gonna have haters.
yeah, like you know me, Terrance. What your opinion of me is important because you know me better than most people, right? There's a handful of people in my life who their opinion is important because I know them and they know me. People I maybe met at work a few times or have worked with here and there who hate me, it's like, well, they don't really know me, do they? Like, so that's what I mean. Like, I don't really give a shit what most people think of me. It's like a handful of people I care about. But
Mm-hmm.
the change thing is interesting because people are always changing, and there'll be certain parts of you, Terrance, that might be the same from when you're 18 to when you're 80, but you still are going to evolve a lot in that time. And it's hard, I think, for a lot of people to accept that. And it's especially hard, like I said in the beginning of this, for couples, because you're going to be changing. And if you go in the wrong direction, if one person goes in the wrong direction, it could mess up a relationship. And it's
It
about
could
being
be
mature enough to understand that.
it could be detrimental to the relationship, but one thing I would say is that it's only detrimental if you allow it to be, because when you're in a relationship, you can work on those things.
But it just depends
if you're willing to.
I'll give you an example, right? Let's say I was dating somebody and we were both good, and I decided I wanted to become a vegan. Right now, I am a vegan now, but let's say at this time I wasn't. I decided I want to become a vegan. Now, this is a problem for my girlfriend, right? Let's say she's like, no, I don't want to be vegan. I like meat. I like all this stuff. I like cheese. And then, like, okay, but we still stay together. But as time goes on, it becomes a problem, right? Because I don't like that she's eating meat. It's a problem. I look at her and I'm like, you're eating just this stuff that I'm directly against. It's a big problem. Like, I see that you're eating a dead cow. That bothers me. And she's like, I don't give a shit. It bothers me. You're not eating it. I have to buy new food now. And that's how things can. And neither one of these people wants to change their course. Like, what do you do? Like, there might not be a compromise. It's hard thing to admit, but sometimes relationships can't be saved.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
That's one example. I mean, it could be religious. It could be anything, right? Like, yeah. Unfortunately,
but I think effort and
effort's important. Yeah, you shouldn't just give up on the relationship.
Yeah,
if you're in this relationship and you really believe in it, you need to be able to talk about these things. Compromise need to be made. Yeah, because relationships are hard work. But I think it's especially hard to really do all of that and then go, maybe there's no way forward. Because sometimes that's the case, and that's unfortunate, and no one wants to admit it. It's a hard thing to do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I can do it.
Getting to that point, and I'm not at that point. I don't know if I've ever really been at that point. But what I can say is like,
at a point where you're changing, but like,
no, like where you're like, oh, like there's no saving this,
I have been. I recently was shit.
Yeah, but I think in order for you to get to that point, it has to literally be like we've exhausted all options. We've kind of.
I'll give you an example. I was in a relationship. We were happy. Things were going really well. And then the relationship hit a big snag, and it wasn't any one thing. It wasn't like something changed. It was just we got into a lot of fights, and we never recovered. We had like a month long where we got into a bunch of fun. We didn't fight much, but we got into a lot of fights during this month, and we just never changed. We never got back because she just kind of gave up on the relationship. Like she wasn't really. I don't know. She didn't really want to fight for it in a lot of ways, and I didn't want to give up. I mean, you remember this? I obviously you were involved.
I know exactly
friend, and I tried my hardest, man, but we couldn't get it back. And after a few months of trying, like you have to just be like, well, this isn't working. Like it's not even like there either was a compromise, but if both people don't want to have that compromise, then what do you do? So
well, that's what I mean by exhausting all options. Like you guys have tried.
That's the thing. Maybe you didn't though. I mean, we're getting off topic here, I guess, but sometimes maybe one person doesn't want to exhaust all options. Maybe they're just like, I don't care. Maybe they believe they've tried and they're like, well, I'm not going to sacrifice this or do that. That's the thing. It's a hard position to be in.
No, but anyway, absolutely.
But anyway, onward. What was I talking about? Oh, so here's the thing. This is kind of in line with this, Terrance. Is there like a certain age where you really have to start changing your lingo? Like me and you, we'll call each other bro or dude or whatever sometimes. We talk like that. If we're 50, is that going to be weird? If I'm 50 years old, I'm like, what's up, bro? Is that like a weird thing where like I should not be saying that? Like,
no, because I think it's a generational thing.
Do you think like this lingo belongs to the generation? The next generation is going to have their own thing?
Yeah.
Will they though? Are they not going to say dude or bro? What are 18-year-olds right now saying?
Well, I don't know. We don't know what the next generation is going to use.
But right now we're 30. So you think maybe like when we're 35, 40, we'll hear the next lingo?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Like I still heard my pops, like when he runs into guys that he don't remember their name, he call them chief. He's like, oh, what's up, chief?
That's not even a lingo. That's just like I use guy a lot. I don't know if you've recently I've gotten into the saying like, what's up, guy? Like guy. You serious? Like I say that a lot now. That's a very Italian thing. I'll be honest with you, like calling someone guy. But I've gotten into that.
Sounds almost insulting. Like I don't even know how to take that.
It depends on how you say it. Like you say something right now, I'd be like, "Guy, are you kidding me?" And that's just whatever. Like or you can say something. I could be like, "Guy, are you kidding me?" Like I love saying it personally. It's funny.
But I think every generation, like has a thing.
So you think like when me and you,
I think they were like cat. Cool cat over there.
But I feel like things stop. I think that there was lingo. I feel like it stops. I feel like dude and bro have been around for like the last 20 years. But again, that is a generation.
Though.
That's a generation though. So maybe
it hasn't because
I was saying dude when I was like 10 years old. I know that.
I wasn't.
Bro. It might be.
It might be a culture thing too because I know for sure that black people wasn't really using bro back in like when I was in I want to say high school and junior high school, we wasn't really using bro.
But see, that's
like
the thing.
It sounded too surfer white boyish.
So I agree. I feel like it was when I was getting out of high school that bro and like into my 20s, bro started to become more like it wasn't a surfer thing.
20s,
because it was kind of like, what's up, brah? Like that wasn't something we ever said. But bro became, I think bro culture, like I kind of became a thing. But I don't know. I just do wonder. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe like we're still kind of close.
I think it'll be with us.
Like your son, when he is 15, 12, 13, 14, that age, is he going to have, he's not going to be saying bro, he's going to have his own, what's up? Pit? I don't know.
I don't know.
You think that's what's going to happen though? You think they're going to have their own?
Pimpin'.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like not pimp, but maybe like, I don't know, like fucking some shit, but So you think it, like
I think
we'll
I
always
think
say
they'll have
bro
their
because it's our generation. That's what's
yeah.
in.
I think they have their own thing. Like more from what I'm hearing, these kids are using simp more. Like they're
Simp
using the
isn't a
word
but simp's an
simp more.
insult. A simp is
It
not.
is, but
But
we
that's
didn't
not
use it.
what I'm saying. Is bro isn't an insult. Dude isn't an insult. These are just like
No, but I'm just
simp
talking
is an
about
insult, and I don't
words.
think it's gonna suddenly become like a what's up simp. Like I don't think
No,
that's how
no,
it
no.
works.
I'm just talking about words. Like as far as like we didn't use simp as like we
No,
had
that's
plenty
true.
of words to insult people.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
let me
absolutely
say
right.
this as well: in our generation, insulting people and offending someone was a lot
It
harsher
was
than it
hard.
is
You had to
now.
go in on someone before you offended
This,
them.
I
Now,
don't
if
know
you
what this is soft right
You know
now.
what's crazy though? There's so many things
Soft.
I want you want to say, but they all have these weird meanings right now. Like if you want to call someone like I don't even know, like, oh, you're just a queen. That's like super offensive. Like even though
Yeah,
you're just like, I don't know,
yeah,
I was just because you're like a pompous little idiot. Can't say that anymore though. Like so many
yeah.
things have so many like they've been taken like a snowflake. I think it's funny to be like, oh, you're just like a perfect and unique snowflake. I get it. It's like from Fight Club, but snowflake has its own connotations now. You can't like
Sunshine.
so many random words. Yeah, like they belong to different like meanings now. It's like, well,
I can't do it. I can't do it. Like
I can keep up with that. I don't care to keep up with it personally, but
I don't either. I'm just
I
saying,
agree
like
though, man. When we were growing up, especially like
it
when
was
you were like
harsh.
kids, yeah, like kids used to go
It was
hard on
harsh.
you,
You had
man,
to be
making fun of
ready
your
for it at
mom and
lunchtime.
everything. Yeah,
You got
you had to have like some classic like your
you
mom
had to be
jokes, but
ready
then you
for it.
also just had to be quick. If you there were a lot of slow people, like, and I don't mean like literally fast, but you had to be able to think quickly. If you weren't,
Mm-hmm.
you were the nerd who
Got to
got
be
made
quick
fun
on your
of.
feet. Let
Like
me tell you something.
I look like a nerd, but I could spit out, so people didn't fuck with me. I made people cry back in the day, so
You gotta. I was always cool with the fat kids because the fat kids will come and eat you alive
that's it.
because they heard it all before.
Yeah, they
What's the
have.
most
You,
you gonna say about them
you
is that
call him
they
a
fat?
fat bastard?
Oh
Yeah,
no,
okay. Haven't heard
they
that before.
coming for you though. They coming. The fat
Here's some
kids is
advice.
coming.
If there's any
I had a
kids
kid
listening
named
to this,
Poochie. Me and Poochie was
Poochie.
real cool.
Poochie. That's his real name?
Poochie, yeah. Poochie was nice in basketball because he
Set
was
big
big.
screens. Set good screens.
He was big. He could dribble. There was thing, and he had a nice little jump shot too. Poochie was nice in basketball, and Poochie know how to cut your ass. That was it.
Did you still talk to Poochie? Is he still in your life?
No, 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 no,
Ah. What about Miss Sylvia? You still talk to Miss Sylvia?
no, no, no. Hell no. No, she
uh,
knows she did.
she did. Yeah, I remember we don't talk to Miss Sylvia on the show. Um, here's the thing: if you don't make fun of especially when you're a kid, don't make fun of the fat kid if he's like much bigger than you. Like if you're like 4'5" and he's like 5'1" and like 200, don't make fun of him because he could just pick you up and throw you. I've seen it happen. Know what I
That's
mean?
true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So pick
Yeah,
on someone new size.
yeah.
Um,
Picking somebody your own size.
yeah, Terrance. The lingo thing is interesting. I guess we'll find out. Unless one day someone's like, "Why are you guys saying? Why are you guys saying, bro? You're weird." Um,
It's kind of weird, bro.
it's kind of weird, bruh.
Yeah.
Bro is definitely surfer. What's up, bruh?
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere, and it was like I said, it sounded very white boyish, and
I
then
agree.
for some
It was very
reason
surfer.
it just kind of gelled well,
You know what
you
I
know.
think helped change
And
bro? By the
dude,
way,
like you did say,
dude. Yeah,
dude became,
dude was always cool when I was growing up. What's up,
yeah,
dude?
but like the way like the way black people had started to use it or whatever, it became like, yeah, dude over there, was
Yeah.
like it
It
they
almost became
became
a way
like
to
one of
refer
them.
to someone, not like to say hi
Yeah,
to them. You don't say, "Hey, dude." You like that dude over there.
yeah, no, 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 yeah, yeah, you gotta use it like that.
Um, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I remember when I was younger, dude was like a really popular thing when I was like 10, 12, whatever. I used to say dude constantly. But you know what I think actually really changed, bro, was the show How I Met Your Mother. Did you ever watch that show?
No.
A big thing was like Barney, Neil Patrick Harris's thing was like everything was broke. Like the word bro code came from that show actually, like in
Mm-hmm.
2005. But that was the thing. Like a big thing they did was like, bro code, and he started the show as it progressed, more and more bro things came up. But I think that's what really pushed bro as being away from like a surfer white guy thing to like just anyone can use it. But all right, Terrance, I think that's brings us to the end of our show.
Think so. I'm just checking
Um,
our Twitterverse to see if anything
our
important is
Twitterverse.
happening.
No one tweets us, Terrance.
You know, um,
I
yeah,
do.
I do want to hold on really quick. I do want to mention this. Naomi Osaka.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Um, shout outs to her and what she's doing. Because she decided to withdraw from the French Open, and that was because she went into it saying, "I will not do any press conferences
This is
because
becoming such a problem for people.
it is affecting my mental health." And
Is that what she
I
said?
understand she did, and I
Mm.
understand that I will be fined. She wrote a very elegant letter. I read it probably like twice. She said, "I understand I will be fine. I hope that if I'm fine and when I'm fine, the money is given to a mental health
That's
organization."
basically what Kyrie was saying, the same thing.
So not only did they fine her, but they said that they potentially would disqualify her if she doesn't talk to the media.
Yeah, so this is tricky, right? Because on the one hand, if it's affecting someone's mental health, they should get like a pass. But then the problem is like anyone could start saying that, and then if they have no press, then that affects their bottom line.
Yeah, but at the same time, where are we coming into a point where we're not respecting people when they say, hey, like I have an issue with this. I need space and
That's the
time. I
thing.
understand I'm gonna get in trouble.
It's
I'm
like
willing to
anything.
deal with the consequences.
It's like anything, man. It's about people start abusing things. It's like, oh, now everyone can travel with their fucking dog because it's a what is it? It's a stress relief animal or it's a mental whatever you know what that is. And it's like, is that really the case, or people just want to
She's
hang out with their dogs?
23, Joe.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Are you listening to me? What I'm saying is, people. You know how people always have their dogs with them everywhere they go now,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, the reason is because their doctor said they need to carry it. It's I don't know, emotional support
Oh
animal,
man, I hate
right?
I hate it, but I understand it at the
No,
same
no,
time
no, no. But
only
see,
because it's
but this is my point, right? Most of those people, it's not really true. They're fine. They could walk around. People walk around the planet on their own, fine, but without it. But once someone got permission, who actually needed it, people exploited it. And now everyone does it. It's the same thing with this. If she
it's the
does this,
prissy little white girls that made me hate it.
right? But listen, this woman right here, Naomi Osaka, if she were to say, if they were to go, okay, well, you don't have to do press, then every fucking athlete's gonna go, well, it's a mental health thing. I don't want to do press, and then no one has any press.
But look how much money they'd be collecting as well.
What do you mean?
They find the athlete.
What I'm saying is, I feel like we're not. You hearing me on the side?
I
If
get
she
what you're
does, but if
saying.
she does
You're saying
this,
that people are going to take advantage of it. You anything people can take advantage of.
that's my point. It's
Anything.
if they were to give her free, okay, you don't have to do it, then what's to stop every other athlete from going?
But
Yeah,
what I'm
mental
saying
health.
is they're not saying that they're okay with it. They're saying, okay, if that's
I'm
what you're going to
saying the
do, we're going to
reason,
find you. So if anybody else
Terrance,
does it as well, they're going to get fined. I'm
Terrance,
looking at the money perspective, and I'm
Terrance,
also looking at people being respected for what they're saying.
Terrance,
Respect my space.
Terrance. You asked the question of, are we not respecting her space because she's saying she affects her mental health? Is it wrong that we're saying they have to talk to people? My response was, if whoever the tennis people are say, okay, listen, it's fine. You can't do it because your mental health, will let you pass.
A
Then
hypothetical.
would every athlete not go, yeah, I don't want to do it either, mental health? And then they
Mm-hmm.
all do it. I'm not talking about the
Mm-hmm.
fines. I'm talking about, would they not all do that? And then no one gets fined, and then no press, and then no one has anything.
Well, that kind of sounds like you don't have faith in a lot of the athletes to just
No,
still do the
we
press.
know most athletes don't want to do press, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to do it either. It's
It's a lot of the
annoying.
media that are
No,
just
you
annoying.
have to answer a lot of the same questions. You have to answer stupid
Mm-hmm.
questions, and a lot of times, especially like if you're right after a match, whatever sport it is, you're fucking tired. You're drained. It's been emotionally and physically
Right.
draining. You gotta. I get that they
I
don't want
just
to do it.
lost. You want to ask me what could I have done better?
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know.
But
I just lost.
but that's what I'm saying.
I could have won.
That's what I'm saying. I get why they don't want to do it. But that's what I'm saying, and I don't blame them for it. I'm not saying they're crazy for it. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But if there was a hole that said, oh, you just have to say it affects your mental health and you don't have to do it, then we would have these companies, the NBA, whoever tennis, the French Open, whatever they are. If no one was giving press, then that affects their bottom line. So they can't
I
just go to Naomi.
absolutely understand that.
They can't go to Naomi Osaka and go, well, no big deal. You can just take a pass. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm saying why they
Yeah.
might not want to do this.
So what? Look, with Naomi Osaka, I mean, I think we generally both can agree. Like we do want to respect her um mental health.
For sure.
We definitely want to respect her mental health. And from what we're reading in the New York Post, it seems like she volunteered to drop out of the tournament due to the
Yeah, I
fact
think
that this was
she's out.
causing a lot of commotion. Not even a little bit, but it was causing a lot of commotion. So she decided to drop out. I mean, again,
It's
I say
unfortunate.
she's 23 because literally she's 23. You know, like she
Too
beat
young.
Serena Williams at the age of 20.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Imagine beating Serena Williams at 20 years old. Like, you know, like you essentially just beat a god.
Right.
So like, you know, like everything she had to deal with and as much attention came to her and everything like that. I mean, I understand, you know, child stars that, you know, when they get older, they kind of go down a little downhill in life. You know, like it's a lot to deal with, you know, at a young age or whatever. And due to the fact that we're in a certain point in society where we're understanding mental health a little bit more, people are more open about it. You know, people are going to therapy, people are basically saying, hey, like this is what works for me, this is doesn't what work for me or whatever. And you know, I'm not willing to compromise that. We have to find a balance in society where we're respecting this more. I think that's
Yeah,
all
mental
I have to
health.
say about it.
Fortunately, mental health has become on the forefront of a lot of things. You know, it used to be like hidden, and now more people are like, "Hey, it's important." So with her, I feel bad, you know, and I hope they can figure something out. You know, I understand why they probably don't want to just say, "Hey, no problem, don't do press," but at the same time, yeah, like if it's affecting her mental health, like that's more important than their money. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens in the future. Hopefully,
yeah,
she's all right.
yeah. Hopefully she's all right.
But anyway, Terrance, I think that comes to the end of our show.
Yes,
Unfortunately, no
sir.
emails because no one wants free money. So there's that.
I'm gonna
But
come
if
up
you
with
want
a
to email
fake
the
email
show,
address tomorrow.
so if you want to email the show, you can email us at need I say more pod at gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at need I say more pod. Follow us on Instagram at need I say more pod. Very easy. So easy, Terrance can do it.
Don't do that. Don't do
Let's see if you were paying attention. But yeah, man, anything for you? Got anything?
No, man. This is fun. Another good one in the books.
Another good one. Episode 20, Terrance. Woo!
20, man. I'm getting drunk next episode.
Celebrate it.
21. I could drink.
Do you think we should do that?
I'm gonna have a wine cooler. I don't really drink hard anymore.
I mean, me neither, but like, would that be a good excuse? Would we just both get a little drunk beforehand?
Yeah, yeah. I'll have a couple of wine coolers. Have fun with it.
Who drinks wine coolers?
I do. I do. Respect it.
Oh, okay. I like that. Stand by it, Terrance. Don't back down. I fucking drink wine coolers, bro. All right, Terrance. That's it for us.
Yeah, man. Thank you for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Need I say more?